Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going deep on the Great Wall of China.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not just skimming the surface like it's
Really?
the longest wall.
Mm,
We're going way deeper,
okay.
using some great info from Wikipedia,
Awesome.
articles on the Great Wall itself
Okay.
and its history.
Sounds good.
So get ready to uncover how the wall surprisingly evolved over time,
hmm
what it was really used for,
Okay.
and how important it was throughout Chinese history.
Gotcha.
We might even bust some myths along the way.
Ooh, I love myth busting.
You do.
Okay, so what are we diving into first?
Well, everyone thinks they know the Great Wall.
Right, it's big.
It is big.
Yeah.
But did you know it's not actually one continuous wall?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a bunch of different walls and fortifications
Okay.
built over centuries
Wow.
by all these different dynasties.
That's fascinating. Each dynasty probably had their own reasons for building.
Oh, absolutely. The wall really shows how China's political landscape
Uh-huh.
and their strategies
Yeah.
changed through history.
I see. So it's not just a wall, it's like a timeline of Chinese power.
You got it.
Yeah.
Laid out in brick and stone.
Amazing.
So let's go all the way back to the beginning,
Oh,
the Warring States period.
oh, wow. Way back.
Yeah, before China was unified.
Right.
You had all these states
Yeah.
fighting over territory.
Constantly battling.
And what's interesting is
Yeah.
the first walls they built
Uh-huh.
weren't really to keep out nomads,
Really?
which is what most people think.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
States like the Qinzhou and
Yeah.
Yan,
Okay.
they were expanding,
Right.
and they used these walls
Yeah.
to show they controlled these new lands they'd conquered.
Oh, so it's about claiming territory.
It's like drawing a line in the sand.
Makes sense.
But here's something even crazier.
Okay, what?
Archaeologists have found nomadic artifacts
Oh, wow.
inside these early walls.
What? So they weren't just keeping nomads out.
It paints a much more complex picture.
Yeah, much more than just us versus them.
All right, so there was probably a lot of interaction
Yeah.
and exchange going on.
Interesting.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit
Yeah.
to Qin Shi Huang,
The first emperor.
the one who unified China.
Right.
He was ambitious,
Big time.
and he wanted to connect those existing walls.
Into something like what we think of today.
Exactly, a massive project.
You think about it, really shows the centralized power
Yeah,
of this newly unified China.
totally. And they used rammed earth.
Rammed earth.
Yeah, imagine the logistics
Oh,
of moving all that through
Yeah.
these difficult environments. And the human cost
Yeah.
was immense.
I bet.
Hundreds of thousands of workers died.
Jeez, that's a lot.
And you know what's crazy?
What?
Even Qin Shi Huang's own general.
Oh, Meng Tian.
Yeah, he ended up regretting building the wall.
Oh, wow. Why is that?
He believed it messed with the Earth's natural energy.
Wow, that's kind of poetic.
Right. This impenetrable barrier
Yeah.
was a source of remorse.
For his own creator.
Isn't that interesting?
It really adds another layer to the story.
And remember, this was just the beginning.
Right. There's so much more to the wall.
The wall kept evolving over centuries.
Okay.
Dynasties like the Han Northern Way and Sui,
Okay.
they all added to it,
Wow.
repairing sections, expanding it further.
And it wasn't just the Han Chinese dynasties, right?
That's right. Even groups like the Khitans and Jurchens,
Yeah.
who ruled parts of northern China,
Right.
they built their own walls too.
So it wasn't just one culture or ethnicity.
Exactly. It was about strategically defending this volatile region.
So we're talking about a structure
Yeah.
that's constantly changing,
Right.
adapted and rebuilt
Over centuries,
by all these rulers.
with their own goals and challenges.
Exactly. That makes so much sense.
And speaking of adapting and evolving,
Okay.
let's talk Ming Dynasty.
Ah, yes. The Ming.
This is where we get the image
Yeah.
of the Great Wall
The one we all know.
that we're all familiar with today.
Yeah, exactly.
They really took things to the next level
They did.
in terms of construction.
So no more rammed earth.
No! They started using bricks and stone.
Oh, wow.
So much stronger
Yeah.
and more elaborate.
Okay.
And they built up to 25,000 watchtowers.
Can you imagine the view from those?
Incredible.
Wow.
And speaking of views,
Yeah.
there are parts of the Ming Wall
Okay.
that you can still visit today.
Oh, cool.
Each one gives you a unique perspective
Oh, yeah.
on how huge it is
Uh-huh.
and how ingenious the architecture is.
Like where?
Well, there's battling.
Okay.
The first section they opened to the public.
Oh, wow. So it's popular.
Super popular. Then there's Jin Chanling,
Okay.
known for its dramatic climb
Oh, wow.
up these steep slopes.
That's intense.
It is. And then there's Mutianyu,
Okay.
one of the earliest sections they renovated.
Cool. So if you visit these different spots,
Yeah.
you can really appreciate the scale and diversity of the wall.
Absolutely. So we've talked about how they built it,
Right.
but let's get to the why.
Yeah, why'd they do it?
Defense was obviously a big reason,
Makes sense.
but it wasn't the only one.
Oh, really?
The Great Wall was this complex system
Okay.
for communication, trade, border control.
So they used it for way more than just defense.
It was like a fortress, a highway, and a high-speed internet connection all in one.
Wow. That's incredible.
It really affected so many parts of Chinese life.
Yeah, I can see that.
And now for a little myth busting.
Oh.
Is it true that you can see the Great Wall of China from space?
I've always heard that.
Most people have,
Yeah.
but it's not actually true.
What?
Even though some astronauts have said it
Right.
and some movies show it,
Yeah.
it's barely visible
Oh, wow.
from low Earth orbit,
Okay.
and you definitely can't see it from the moon.
So it just blends in?
It just blends right in.
Interesting.
It's a good reminder
Yeah.
to always be critical
All right.
of the information we come across.
Even if it seems like everyone believes it.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the state of the wall today. Some parts are beautifully preserved, especially the popular tourist spots.
Makes sense.
But a lot of the wall is in bad shape.
Oh, no.
Erosion has taken its toll,
Yeah, centuries of it.
and so has human activity.
Oh, right. Like what?
Vandalism, people stealing bricks.
Really?
And some parts have even been destroyed
Oh, no. Why?
to make room for new construction.
It's kind of sad to think about.
It is this amazing structure
Yeah.
that survived for so long,
Yeah.
now facing these threats.
It raises a big question.
Yeah, what is it?
How do we balance preserving the wall
hmm
with letting the country develop and grow
And how do we allow people to experience it?
without harming it?
It's a tough question
Yeah.
that we need to talk about
Definitely.
as we think about the wall's future.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But for now,
Okay.
let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and dive into how the wall fared
Yeah.
under different dynasties,
Okay.
starting with the Han Dynasty
Gotcha.
in part 2 of our deep dive.
Looking forward to it. Welcome back to our deep dive on the Great Wall.
We've uncovered some surprising stuff already.
Right. Like those early walls.
Yeah.
Marking territory.
Not just defense.
And then the Ming Dynasty's construction
Yeah.
really stepped it up.
Now let's see how specific dynasties used the wall
Okay, sounds good.
and how they felt about it.
Gotcha.
Let's start with the Han Dynasty.
Okay.
They were around for over 400 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
They had this unique relationship with the wall.
Yeah, they did. They were dealing with the Xiongnu,
Who were the Xiongnu?
this powerful nomadic group to the north, a constant threat.
Yeah.
And they didn't just use the wall for defense.
Oh, really?
No, Emperor Wu, he was all about military strength,
Yeah.
and he used the wall as a starting point to expand the empire.
Oh, so he was pushing outward.
Yeah, not just hiding behind it.
Wow, that's different.
It is. They even extended the wall further west,
That far.
all the way to the Yumen Pass.
I've heard of that.
At the edge of the Gobi Desert.
That's a harsh environment.
It is. Just imagine
Yeah.
building and maintaining a wall there.
It's mind-boggling.
It shows how committed they were
Yeah.
to securing their borders.
It's showing their power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what happened after Emperor Wu?
Good question.
Yeah.
Did his successors do the same thing?
Well, not always. The Han Dynasty,
Yeah.
like all dynasties,
Yeah.
went through ups and downs.
They did.
Sometimes they were strong, sometimes weak.
Makes sense.
Later emperors had money problems, rebellions.
Oh, yeah, and the Xiongnu were always there.
Always a problem.
Hmm.
So their strategies changed.
Okay, how so?
Sometimes they focused on defense.
Yeah.
Sometimes they tried diplomacy.
Interesting. So the wall wasn't just this static thing.
No, it was a tool
A tool they adapted.
based on what was going on at the time.
And we can see that in the archaeology.
We can.
There's evidence of walls being built, repaired, abandoned, and rebuilt again.
Wow, so it really is a living record.
It is a living record of Chinese history,
I like that.
always evolving.
Okay, so let's move on to the Sui dynasty.
Okay.
The Sui known for being extravagant.
Yeah, and there's short reign.
Right. But what about their contributions to the wall?
Yeah, what do they do?
They shouldn't be overlooked, Emperor Yang.
Okay.
He had big plans.
Like what?
The Grand Canal
Oh, wow, yeah.
and the Great Wall.
He was ambitious.
He saw the wall as essential for defense.
Against who?
The Gukturks,
Who were the Gukturks?
another nomadic group
Okay.
causing problems in the north.
So another powerful ruler worried about nomadic threats?
You got it.
Yeah.
So how did Emperor Yang approach the wall?
Yeah, what did he do?
He got huge numbers of people working.
Wow. Even more than the Qin dynasty.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
But wasn't that a lot to handle?
It was the Sui dynasty actually collapsed,
Oh, wow.
partly because of these big projects.
Oh, so the wall was part of their downfall.
And Emperor Yang was assassinated.
Wow, it's interesting how the wall could be both. A symbol of strength,
Yeah.
but also cause instability.
It's a double-edged sword.
Okay, let's talk about the Tang Dynasty now.
The Tang.
Known for their military.
Yeah, and their culture.
But they weren't so into the wall, right?
They weren't. They preferred to be more offensive.
Like taking the fight to the enemy.
Exactly. They had a strong army.
Yeah.
Great generals.
So they went on campaigns?
Yes. Instead of relying on walls,
Why do you think they did that?
they thought the wall was a sign of weakness.
Really?
Like something you used when you weren't strong enough.
Wow, so they were all about showing their strength.
Exactly. They could project their power beyond the wall.
So they didn't need big fortifications.
Makes sense. It's interesting how different their view was.
Yeah, compared to other dynasties.
It shows there wasn't just one way of thinking about the wall,
Right. Each dynasty had their own perspective.
based on what they were facing.
So what about the Song Dynasty?
Ah.
They're known for their culture and economy.
Right, but they still had to deal with the wall?
Did they build more?
Their situation was a little more complicated.
Okay.
They had enemies to the north and west.
Powerful ones.
Yes, so they used existing sections of the wall,
Okay, where?
mostly in the east,
What for?
to mark their border with the Liao dynasty.
So they weren't building new walls,
Not really.
but they were still using them strategically.
Yeah, to show where their territory was.
Did they have to deal with any other threats?
Oh, yeah, they had the Tangites in the west.
Another powerful group.
Yes, and to defend against them.
Okay.
They did something really interesting.
What?
They dug a huge trench
A trench.
alongside an existing wall.
Wow, that's clever.
It shows that the Great Wall
Yeah.
wasn't just about walls.
What do you mean?
It was an entire system.
Okay.
Walls, trenches, signal towers.
Oh, I see.
The Song dynasty shows how adaptable they were.
Yeah, they found ways to meet specific threats.
It's amazing what they came up with.
So we've covered a lot in this part.
We have.
From the Han Dynasty's expansion
Uh-huh.
to the Tang Dynasty's dislike of the wall and the Song Dynasty's innovations.
It's clear that the Great Wall was
Yeah.
a really important part of Chinese history.
And it wasn't just one thing.
No, it kept changing.
As we move to part 3,
Okay,
we'll explore the wall's legacy
sounds good.
and what challenges it faces today.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, we're back for our final part of this deep dive into the Great Wall of China.
The final part.
We've gone through all these centuries,
Yeah.
seen these dynasties come and go,
The rise and fall.
learned how the purpose of the wall
Uh-huh.
totally changed over time.
It did.
But now I want to talk about its legacy.
Okay.
How does China see the wall today?
That's a good question.
And what kind of problems is it facing?
Yeah, like what challenges?
Well, after the Manchus conquered China
Okay.
and they established the Qing dynasty,
Right?
the wall kind of stopped being used for defense.
Oh, why is that?
Well, their empire was huge.
Okay.
It included lands on both sides of the wall.
Oh, so it wasn't really a border anymore.
Exactly. It was like having a fence in your backyard
Right.
when your property goes on for miles.
What did they do with the wall?
Well, they didn't completely ignore it.
Oh.
They actually used parts of it,
Oh, really? Like where?
mostly in Manchuria,
Okay. Their homeland.
to control where the Han Chinese could go.
Oh, so it went from keeping outsiders out
Yeah,
to controlling people inside the empire.
it's a pretty big shift.
It is. And they also downplayed its symbolism.
What do you mean?
They didn't want to focus on its connection
Yeah,
to past dynasties.
especially the Ming.
Right. They were Han Chinese.
They wanted to establish their own power.
Makes sense. You could say the wall had a bit of an identity crisis then.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was neglected,
Uh-huh.
repurposed.
Yeah.
Its history was pushed aside.
And then Westerners showed up.
In the 18th and 19th centuries,
Right.
that's when they got really interested in the wall again.
They were fascinated by it.
That whole Orientalism thing.
Yeah, they loved everything exotic about the East.
European travelers and scholars, they loved how big and grand it was.
They often exaggerated it in their stories. It fueled their imaginations.
They saw China as this ancient, mysterious place.
And that actually influenced how the Chinese saw the wall, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it became a source of pride again,
That's interesting.
especially in the early 20th century
Right.
when the Qing dynasty fell
Right.
and nationalism was on the rise.
The wall represented China's strength,
Yeah, and its long history.
and that feeling got even stronger during World War II.
Oh, yeah, when the Japanese invaded?
You saw these images of Chinese soldiers
Yeah.
defending the wall,
It became this symbol of
a
resistance.
symbol of unity.
It still is today.
Yeah, you see it in literature poetry.
Even their national anthem.
It's amazing how something that used to divide people now brings them together.
The wall's meaning has really changed.
And now it's a World Heritage Site.
It is.
Millions of people visit every year.
It's a huge tourist attraction.
But that comes with problems, too.
Oh, yeah. What kind of problems?
Well, how do you protect something this old and big?
Yeah, it goes on for thousands of miles.
And it's dealing with erosion,
Right.
vandalism, even new construction.
It's a huge challenge.
It is. How do you preserve history while still allowing progress?
That's the question.
They're trying to restore and protect parts of the wall. But it takes a lot of work.
Money, expertise.
And everyone needs to care.
To keep the wall alive for future generations.
So as we finish up this deep dive, remember, the Great Wall is more than just a wall.
What do you mean?
It's about ambition, ingenuity.
Resilience.
It shows the spirit of the people who built it.
And those who are still inspired by it.
So next time you see a picture of the wall,
or if you're lucky enough to visit it,
remember, it's not just bricks and stone.
Yeah.
It's a story of China's history.
And its legacy.
And it shows what humans can do.
With their imagination and determination.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.